Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In this opportunity, I would like to present our research regarding the effectiveness of the headway for the Jakarta MRT during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, this is number 52 from the reviewing paper. So this paper was made by the main author Leni Asrar and Rafa Ganitrikunda, Marti Jamin, and myself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm very happy to be here because I can show about how the effectiveness of the MRT Jakarta during the COVID. And before coming to the content of the presentation, I would like to inform that by the rapid population growth and very high population mobility put Jakarta in the 10 most congested city out of the 416 countries in 2019. Due to survey from the UK Traffic Congestion Monitoring Agency called TOM Index. So I think from now on, everybody knows that the DKI Jakarta seek to use mass transportation, the construction of the integrated mode raya or MRT, and is projected to be able to transport 170,000 people per day in the first year of operation, and was able to reduce CO2 emission from burning fuel cycle vehicle fuel by 30,000 ton by 2020. And although by the availability of MRT, it is expected that Jakarta people will use public transportation to overcome congestion in the capital. And MRT implemented a headway between train at peak hours every 5 minutes and during normal hours every 10 minutes. So here we can imagine that in one trip, the MRT has six car. Yeah, I mean there's six locomotive. So number one, we call it the TC2 car, number 6, and TC1 car, number 1, which means that the head and also the head of her, because one time they have to go forward and one time to go backward. And but for the other 4, it's really only for the passengers only. For example, from here, if we count about how many passengers can be seated in the MRT, for the total about 306. So in one trip, the MRT can bring at least 306 people. Okay. So here our research activity, because the intention of the research is to estimate, to calculate about how the effectiveness or the efficiency of the MRT headway during the pandemic 19. So we start with the data collection. For example, like so how many people took the MRT for every single day. And also how about the use of electricity for one trip, for example. And for this case, we are dividing the data into the two sides by primary data, which exactly we got from the PT KAI, and the other thing probably we can from the book, we can from the journal, or we can take from the other sources, internet and so on. So if all data, primary and secondary data collected, then we have to use what you call like data processing. So all combined together, all data. So and after that, we have to calculate about work trend calculation. For example, number 1, in electrical cost payment, it is very important, because if we would like to know about the effectiveness of the MRT, of course, we have to estimate about electrical cost payment. And the other thing also, the thing very important in order to fulfill the estimate of the effectiveness is really ticket sale and analysis. So and after that, it will all of the analysis or research activities will be ended by end. Okay, here we go. So like when the first time the MRT operated in September 2019, September 2019, October 2019, November 2019, December 2019, January 20, February, March 20. So, everybody knows that the COVID-19 hit the world since December 2019, starting from Wuhan at the time. But fortunately, the COVID-19 hit the our country, as far as I know, is about the first week of December at the time. Then from here we can see from until the March 2020, which is very clear that the calculation is really because the COVID-19 has not yet calculated for this time. So from this point, it is very sure, very clear that if we see here, for example, like we have about the two graph. One graph really regarding about the ticket sale, right, and the other thing is regarding about the electrical costs. Yeah. So until March 2020, it is very clear that the ticket sale, the amount of money earned from the ticket sale is much bigger than the electrical costs used for the electricity, right? And after that, when the PPKM applied by the government to limit about the people mobilization, and after that, recently we were very sad because the ticket sale is really for example, like the April 2019, April 2020, May 2020, then the ticket sale goes down even lower than the cost of electricity. So of course from here the MRT is not effective. But in the long run, for example, April 2020 until October 2020 is really sad, that because the income from the ticket sale is almost the same with the electrical costs to be paid by the PT MRT. So that's we call it. So I should say that from September 2019 until the March 2020, I should say the MRT is very effective and efficient. But after the COVID-19 hit this country, then from April 20 until the October 20, where the research was done, so it is very pity then the MRT is not as efficient anymore. So finally, we are coming up to the conclusion. The number one, the average electricity consumption MRT trend before pandemic from September 2019 to March 2020 is really before pandemic, reached something about like 3,162,654 kilowatt hour during the pandemic, which started from 2020 October, really down to the 1,913,037 kilowatt hour. So number two, the implementation headway before the pandemic has been effective, and I said before, with the energy consumption of only of the minimum account. Meanwhile, during the pandemic in April 2020 to May 2020, the electric consumption of the MRT train was very low, but in June, July, and August 2020, it was very high. Also, the other during pandemic from April 2020 to October 2020, the implementation of MRT headway then underwent changes in line with the policy set by the government because of the PPKM, we call it. The ticket sale during the declining pandemic had not been able to meet the cost of electricity bill, causing the MRT management suffer losses, meaning that from April 2020 to October 2020, I should say that MRT is not efficient. The final ticket sale in September and October 2020 have not been able to meet the electricity bill charged to the MRT management. Finally, we have to think about the efficiency of the MRT, and finally, the MRT management decided the use of 4 trains in one series of MRT instead of 6 before, as I mentioned. The train, when the traffic is low, may reduce consumption by 221,996 kilowatt hour. However, the use of 4 trains result in the absence of the backup system for the train propulsion system. That's all my presentation, and you already seen about the conclusion. And finally, I would like to thank very much for your attention and cooperation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.